Hello there, this is Raul Handa, the host of the FFTB show, and today we have with us a woman of resilience, someone who's worked extensively in the public health domain with over 20 years of experience. She's a founder, and like I said, a woman of resilience. We've got Ms. Shailza Taneja with us today. Shailza has made significant contributions to health equity, women and youth empowerment, and sustainable development. Great to have you on the show today, Shailza. Thank you so much for making it.
Thank you, Raul. I really want to thanks to you and your entire team for bringing me here, and looking forward to an interesting discussion today.
It sure will be. So before we talk about your journey, let's talk about a woman of resilience. If you'd like to shed a little bit light about who is Shailza as a person, her journey, her struggles, her challenges, so that our audience gets to understand, why this segment of our show is called Shailza Taneja, a woman of resilience.
Thank you. It is very interesting, actually, and the journey overall has not been easy, I must say, but something that made me what I am today. So if I talk about Shailza as a child, I was like bubbly kind of a girl from a very simple family with lots of aspirations and, kind of to do something good and something meaningful and something big in life, but not a direction, that was clear to me as a student or as a youth. Slowly and gradually, what I went through, if I talk about my personal journey, my professional journey, because not having a clear direction, there's a lot of phases that we go through. And when we are battling and struggling alone, it makes further, the road more bumpy, actually. So I would like to say that having a mentor happened at a later age in my life, but overall, being into a very simple family, born and brought up with some very strong values, that actually helped me to sail through the kind of situations I was facing as a girl, as a woman. But one thing which I learned from my dad that kept me, more stronger in faith was never give up. And as a person who is having a defense background, the kind of atmosphere that we had in our house was more focused on discipline, more focused on doing things, making mistakes, learn from mistakes, but don't give up.
Interesting. What role has your dad and your parents, since you come from the defense background, what role has he played in your upbringing, in the person that you are today? And I understand, as someone who comes from the defense family, there has been a lot of times where you were probably moved from one city to another. How did that impact you, in your childhood or when you were growing up? Let's talk a little bit about that.
We actually did not get a chance to move with Dad. He's from administration background in the MES, but he had different postings. So I remember, very interestingly, I'll tell you, the day I was born, third day he had to join a particular station. And when I was growing, everybody used to say that the moment I was born, my dad had to leave the house.
Right.
So there was time when he was there at home. There were times when he was not there at home. But there is something which is very beautiful and interesting. And I would like to say that time, tape recorders used to play a kind of a important role where we used to have this, in our house. So I remember my dad used to record his voice in a cassette. And when he was not there, so mom used to scare us with all that. And very smartly, whenever we are playing Notorious kind of a thing at home, she used to play that. She said, this is a device through which dad can listen to you and you better be disciplined. And I was wondering, I said, every time it's the same kind of a scolding for everything. There is something fishy. And then I figured it out. So it's a very cute kind of a part of our childhood, but we did not get a chance to move along with him.
Did you miss him when he was not there?
Yes, quite a lot in the initial years. But there was one incident when I was in 10th standard. That time, I think I actually felt that my emotional connect with him was quite strong. He met with a very serious accident, and which shook our family at that time. And a lot of doctors basically had given up that he may not be able to walk. What I saw and I learned from that incident is two things. One is my mom is a very, very simple person. She's always behind my dad, that you take the lead. But that time she had to take the lead. And I learned a lot from my mother that time, that despite of somebody who will not do anything independently, but she could manage, and she really did well. And at that time, my dad, he showed his willpower. And I learned from that, because he went through 3 major surgeries. The third one was successful. It took more than 3 years. And living a life, where you see that your father is not able to move on his own, it made a major impact at that time in my life. And 2 things I learned from that. Today, if those who know me very closely and they call me woman of resilience, the roots are from there. One is being independent is very important for any girl, for any woman in life, because situations do not knock the door when they come. So we need to be prepared. Second thing is willpower. I remember when we all used to sleep, my dad used to try to wake up and get up on his own without support. I used to quietly watch him. But the day he stood without the support, I hugged him. He said, "You didn't sleep?" I said, that day, it was something, it is deeply stored in my heart. I saw him not giving up. And I learned from him that day. So 2 things. One is the woman who can be nurturing, who can be caring, can be daring as well when the responsibility comes, can be as strong as a man when a responsibility comes, and willpower can move mountains. So the doctors who said that he will not be able to walk, he drove Tata Safari kind of a vehicle after that. And I feel so proud of it. And, somebody who was not able to walk to the toilet without any support is moving across the world, is something. That courage is coming from there.
Wow. So this happened in 10th grade, when you were in 10th
Yes.
grade. And my understanding is that, your dad, throughout the years you were growing up, moved around, but there was always the discipline, and that feeling of being independent came in very early because your dad was
Yes.
not there. Did you ever, get angry at him as a child? Like, on days where you really needed him, maybe at the PTA meeting, or when you'd see all these other friends of yours with their dads. And I'm, with the way you're saying, I'm sure you were a daddy's girl, right? So did you ever miss,
No.
or get angry at him that, why aren't you here?
No, not at all. I don't even have a single incidence of feeling him not being there, because he was like at a very initial kind of a years, and then he got a final posting in Delhi. So in the school time as itself, but I never felt him. Yes, emotionally, when it was my first board exam, I still remember that day. That particular day, I was like crying. I said, if it is possible, but he was not able to move. And he still said, okay, he wanted to. And I said, no, this is, it's just an expression of me to have you with me, but I'm okay with that. And another thing is, Raul, that He gave me that kind of a space and exposure in my young, youth years, where I was also exploring my own identity. I wanted to do things. What I felt is that, you know, being being a more disciplined kind of a person, he used to say that go and do it. So I said, I don't know how to, I don't know the way. So he said, you take this transport from here, reach there, call me. And I was just wondering, I said, he has left me alone, not allowed me to go, he could have been with me. I just, the thoughts. But he just made me to explore things. And this is just one incident I'm sharing, Raul. And why I'm coming again to this is when a woman goes through a lot of, changes after marriage, adjustment, work, children, I used to come back to him. I said, this is the issue. He never saw anything as an issue. He always told me, solution kya hai? What is the solution? I said, I don't know. That's why I've come here. He said, no, the solution is with you. If this is a situation, look for a solution. Or sometimes he suggested. And the time over the period happened where he asked me to bow down. And I said, it's not acceptable, because if you have not done anything wrong and still you have asked to bow down or something, and later on things did not go the way it should have been, because I made a lot of compromises, adjustments, gave up at times for the kind of jobs and the roles and the positions which I was getting, the leading kind of positions at a very early age. But his focus was, and my mother's focus was, on family, the values, the time that we need to give to our loved ones. It's basically to build relationships. So they made me understand that relationship don't come so easily. So you work on it. But even after giving your best, if it is not working, then again I asked him, I said, you made me do so much. Where do I stand now? He said, from here onwards, the life that you will live, you will not regret. And that is what will make you happiest person, because you did everything. You gave your best in everything. So whether it was my work situation, whether it was my personal situation, what I would say that they are two people who are the foundation of making me a resilient person, basically. Someone who will not give up. No matter how much I have been broken, torn off, roadblocks have been created for me, wherever it is. But these are two people I used to go back and ask. And there is a way.
So, Shailza, you're a strong woman. You're an independent woman. A lot of contribution to that has been with your upbringing, with your parents. You're a single mother with 2 kids. You've had a difficult life, and you came out stronger. But what sort of impact, did that phase of your life have? The trauma, how did you, get out of it? It impacted you. I'm sure it impacted your kids, everybody around you, right? But mostly you. उस समय खुद को संभालना, बच्चों को संभालना, सबको संभालना, सोसाइटी का जो प्रेशर होता है, काफी चीजें होती हैं. So if you want to share a little bit about how did that, change your life, that phase of your life?
मुझे लगता है कि that was a very transformative kind of journey that started, because it's not easy, first of all, to start a journey where it's completely, I started from zero, everything, completely. And definitely I would like to give this message, because this is what I followed and I think it was a right decision for me. At that time, some of my friends, they were suggesting me that go out, have friends, and start living your life. These were the kind of suggestions I was getting. I was in my 30s at that time. And I was thinking within myself that in my 30s, this is the way I am impacted. What about those children who are very small? And that created a bond, stronger bond between me and my children. If I went out for a movie, my companions were my kids. First time I took my vehicle on a highway, my companions were my kids. They believed in me. First time, we did a lot of things for the first time. First time, literally, a lot of things that let's live, and they trusted me. I remember, and I want to share this. My daughter was like 5 at that time. We were going to a temple, and I was a little emotional that day, whatever happened. And, so my daughter, she was standing behind, I was driving. She just hugged me and said, Mama, you did not get one good life partner. Don't cry for that. You got 2 partners for life. And that was something which gave me a kind of fire in me, that what did she say? And there was a time when we used to feel little, alone, at times. And the way I managed, the way I handled, once my children said, Mama, now we don't feel fear of being alone at home. We're happy with you, and I think I could give them that confidence. So we traveled across countries, different countries, and the kind of person I am, is like moving out with both the children to an unknown place, completely unknown place. I took that chance. I said, let's live. So they saw that, I did not leave them alone. And trust me, that brought us more closer to each other emotionally. And because that emotional healing is very much needed. And that was a phase which made me understand how this mental trauma, can affect and impact families. How these emotional traumas can impact children, especially. They are not able to express. And they don't have the right kind of a choice of words to express. They don't know what is happening. When I got a job where I had an extensive travel. And whenever I go on travel, my daughter especially used to fall sick. So I used to ask my mother, she's from maternal and child health background. And I said, what are they eating? What are they consuming? Why are they, falling sick, and especially the little one? So my mom said, you need to understand, this is not because of food. This is because of being, into that emotional disturbance that you're away. And that was a time, again, a testing period for me. I left that job where I was representing India at Asia level, at global level. A lot of good things were happening. I just decided that I need a kind of a job where I can give them that time which is needed. And I really want to give this message to every mother that these are the foundation years. If you have managed those foundation years beautifully, trust me, your children are going to be good human. And I invested those years to make them good human. And I got good responses from the teachers, from the friends, where they play around in the society. Those kind of, it's a kind of a validation of a good upbringing that you're giving to your children. So I think it was worth.
Interesting. Let's talk about your professional journey. 20 plus years in public health.
Yes.
You've given your blood and sweat to public health. You worked extensively with the government of India, with government officials, with the Ministry of Health. You've represented India globally with United Nations. You've written books, and we'll come to that. But why public health? What was the motivation of getting into public health?
Sure. So I'll start. I have been a kind of, as I said, that little ambitious in my, younger years and all that. So I wanted to do my learning and earning. And because of dad's situation that time, I knew that they did not have much financial to support me and in my high kind of a aspirations to do good courses from good universities internationally, whatever it is. So I thought, whatever we have, let's make the best out of it. So I started learning with earning. So my first job was very at a very initial phase. I started working with Amex for the retail banking. And it was a very good experience. And I was doing quite well. In 20s itself, I got awards as a best performer, Northern region, and good it was. But I was thinking, is this something which I want to do for the rest of my life? Imagine at a very, very early age, 20, as I said, that there's no direction clear.
Right.
But this thought was a seed in me. That is it something I really want to do? Retail banking, selling schemes, those things. Am I interested to do that? Because there was something which always used to pull me to help people, to heal people. But what can I do? So in that context, when I started thinking of what should I do, there was an opportunity open for me to work with the United Nations. And I think that was a blessing, because when I went into that kind of a world, I understood very different challenges, the different projects based on health, education, different areas. And health was something which was more closer to my heart. As I said, my mom is from maternal and child health. So I've seen from the childhood the environment of the hospitals and those things. So I think somewhere it was a kind of a calling which I could feel. And from there, the journey started, and got an opportunity to work with the ministries. I was based in different ministries, and also the private sector that was contributing to public health at a grassroots levels. So that was the overall, I can say a big canvas which I wanted to cover. And one very important thing happened is working with the United Nations was not giving me an opportunity to be at the grassroots. So the understanding was very different. But when I moved out and I started working with an organization where going and talking to the community, because when community is coming to you is a different scenario.
And you go into them.
But when you
absolutely.
go and you work with them, you live the kind of life that they are living, even for a few days.
You're much more closer to reality.
Exactly. And that opportunity came when I was working with the Clinton Foundation, and also more closely to the community when I started working with Jagran. There's an initiative of Jagran Pehel, and it was supported by Reckitt. And I must thank my mentor, Mr. Ravi Bhatnagar. He gave me that opportunity. And one sentence that he said was, if you want to write strategies are not written, in the AC rooms. You have to be a part of the community. So I was like thrown into ocean, and to understand, trust me, it was hygiene, sanitation, water wash kind of a project, behavior change, and majorly contributing to Swachh Bharat. It was somewhere an eye opener for me. The kind of interactions which I had with the girls, with the mothers, the pregnant women, and children. In a tiniest of room, there were like 8 to 10 people living. How can we talk about constructing a toilet? So these things, they were somewhere opening a different kind of questions in me. How I can help them? How can I support them? And then I under his leadership, I designed a strategy of some programs and all that. I think from there, the route which I took was completely different. So my response, my commitment towards public health became more strengthened after that experience.
Interesting. So you spoke about sanitation, hygiene.
Yes.
Sure, these are very sensitive topics. Yeah. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm sure you've had your own set of challenges. Change is a big thing, even and at grassroots level when you're speaking to people about making their village ODF right?
Yeah.
You're speaking to people about sanitary hygiene, girls, young growing girls. You're speaking to people about menstrual hygiene and building a toilet, etc. These can be uncomfortable at times, right? Was there hesitance, backlash, maybe an ounce of regret? Is this the right thing for me to do?
No, I think because, as I said, I'll tell you one more thing. Administration, I have done operations administration quite a lot. My master's was in operations management and everything. What I personally believe that administration, grants management, budget, I think this is a kind of thing that I've inherited from my dad because he's been into administration.
Right.
This is something that, I think it's a default setting.
It comes to you naturally.
Naturally. As a child, I used to organize my birthday parties.
Acha.
I used to save money throughout the year and I used to give that to my parents. It's not a burden on you. So this is a list and this is the items. This is the budget. And please, you just have to go and buy the things. So I used to, so it was there. Event organizing, logistics, administration, budgets and grants. This is something which I think I can do while sleeping also. But not my passion.
Right.
The passion was to serve the community, to serve humanity, to work with people. And that was pulling me there. And I think a new door completely opened for me because when I connected to my heart's desire, when I listened to my soul, and that was the time when I started writing. The very first opportunity to write something.
Right.
And I think that opened a very different kind of a version of me, which I was not earlier.
Interesting.
Completely.
Interesting. So you've donned multiple hats.
Yeah.
You're an author. We'll come to that. You're a mother. You're consulting one of the big fours. You got a lot of stuff happening. You work closely with the government. Very well connected here. How do you maintain your work-life balance? You're juggling multiple hats. You're a daughter as well. You spoke about how important it is to give time to your kids. But with all this happening, do you get overwhelmed? Do you get tired? How do you manage? And how would you advise other women who are, donning the same hats? How would you guide them towards ensuring that, they're not too focused on their personal life where they're ignoring their professional life, and too focused on their professional life where they end up ignoring their personal life, which in turn gives them guilt.
Right.
Because वो माँ का प्यार जो है वो हमेशा रहता है.
Right. And you can't compensate.
And you can't compensate for
With
that.
materialistic things,
You
कभी
can't.
नहीं कर सकते. Possible ही नहीं है.
तो आप कैसे मैनेज करते हो, शैलजा?
बहुत सिंपल सी चीज. As I said, मैं थोड़ा इमोशनल काइंड ऑफ पर्सन हूँ. और बीइंग, बहुत लोग बोलते हैं ऐसा ना कि बीइंग इमोशनल इज समटाइम्स I don't see it as a weakness, but a lot of people believe it. I think this is the biggest strength of a human. Because अगर इमोशंस नहीं है तो आप किसी चीज़ को फील नहीं कर सकते. जब फील नहीं कर सकते तो उस पर रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं कर सकते हो अप्रोप्रिएटली जो होना चाहिए. सो व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू से इज के बहुत ईजी नहीं होता है बैलेंस करना. माई सिंपल अप्रोच वॉज, वन इज वी शुड बी वेरी क्लियर of our commitments, of our priorities, and the time management. And time management, which I learned already in my different avatars. And as I always have, been into that, when we get up early, when we value time, we create value for ourselves, whether it's personal life or professional life. So a balance between work and children and family and parents and all that. One, it is the emotion that connect you with the loved ones. Irrespective of I am in country, I'm traveling, I'm wherever I am across the world. There's one thing which I maintained from decades. My mobile number is same. Because when my children used to come from school, I've learned a lot from my children also. The first thing when they started dialing the number, it was my number that they learned. And they used to call and all silly things. I never ever said I'm busy. I always said, okay, tell me. And in my workplace, wherever I worked, everybody knew that if it is Shailza's children calling, she will always answer. Whichever part of the world I am. So that kept us connected, emotionally connected, irrespective of how busy I am. I have always taken care of their school activities, their friends, parties, get-togethers, or their emotional well-being, their physical, hygiene and everything. And I have been there, whether it's a PTM, whether it is anything. It's a commitment. If I talk about my parents, as I said, my dad is battling with cancer right now. And there was a time when I had to decide taking a full-time job or choosing being with my father. Again, Rahul, I simply thought, I don't want to live in regret. That time, I decided to do something which allows me to take care of him.
To spend time
with him. Because tomorrow, if he's not there, I will always regret that I could do this. So that helps us to, and also at workplace or it's at home, we need to build that ecosystem. So we are not handicapped. If I'm out from my home, I make sure that somebody is there. The kids are in safe hands, at a safe place, so I can focus on work. And when I'm at home, they understand that this is the time where mama has to focus on work, so that, it is for all of us. We will have holidays. We will have good, everything. So if I am working, they know it is for good for us. So they contribute, they support, and not very demanding, I must say. I think I've not spoiled them that much. So it is very very understanding kind of a, relationship that we have, कि वो इशारे से ही ना बात हो जाती कई बारी कि वो भी समझ जाते हैं और मैं भी समझ जाती हूँ. एंड एक दो बार ऐसा भी हुआ जहाँ उन्होंने मुझे बताया नहीं, मान लो कोई चीज, बिकॉज दे टेल एवरीथिंग. और मेरी डॉटर के स्कूल में एक ऐसा इंसिडेंस हुआ जहां पर दे आस्क्ड अस, बच्चों से क्लास में, कि हु इज योर सीक्रेट दैट यू शेयर योर सीक्रेट विद. So my daughter said, my mom. Teacher did not believe. She said, you can tell everything. She said, yes, I can tell everything to my mom. And she had a word with me, teacher, after that. And she said, you know about this? I said, yes. You know about this? I said, yes. So she said, she shares everything. I said, yes. Because I as I said now, that in their initial years, I was with them, whether we went out for drives, for parties, my friends.
You always had your first time with them.
Yes. So they know that there is a transparency, there's a trust, and we don't have to feel fearful. My son, I told him once it happened that he was playing with some stones or something, and किसी की गाड़ी पे ना वो उसका glass जो था वो टूट गया. It was a brand new car, and my son came at home. He was like hiding in one corner, and I could feel that something कुछ तो हुआ है. So I asked him what happened. He said, "Mama, मेरे से ना ये गलती हो गया है." I said, कोई बात नहीं, अगर हुआ है, आपने मुझे बताया, don't worry about it, we'll pay back. But I don't want you to live in that fear. तो मैंने हमेशा उनको ये चीज बोली कि घबराओ नहीं, कुछ भी हो जाए, be open and share, because वहां से solutions आते हैं. और जब हम हाइड करते हैं तो वो हमारे इमोशंस इम्बैलेंस होते हैं, वो नहीं होना चाहिए.
Interesting. You're an author.
Yes.
You've written 2 books on sustainable development, youth empowerment. So I want to talk a little bit about the 2 books that you've written. I also know you're in the process of writing your 3rd book. Where do these inspirations come from? Writing a book is a big commitment. It requires a lot of perseverance. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. So let's talk a little bit about your journey as an author, briefly about the 2 books. that you've written and a little about what's your current thought process when you're writing your third book.
हम लोग बोलते हैं ऐसा ना कि पूत के पाँव पालने में दिखते हैं, right? So coming events show the shadows, right? ऐसा बोलते हैं ना. I understand. ये तो बहुत बाद में मुझे पता चला when मैं अपना थोड़ा सा राइटिंग कुछ बाहर आने लगा ना, तो एक दिन मेरा फर्स्ट बर्थडे का फोटोग्राफ मेरे किसी बर्थडे पे माय सिस्टर शेयर्ड, और मेरे पापा को वो मेमोरी रिकलेक्ट हुआ, एंड ही सेड he had a photographer invited at home, wanted to click my picture first birthday का, and I was very restless. So my dad said कि वो कोशिश करते जा रहे थे और मैं endlessly ना हाथ में नहीं आ रही थी किसी के कि हुआ क्या. So my dad said कि उनकी पॉकेट में एक पेन था, एंड फोटो क्लिक करने के लिए उन्होंने वो पेन मुझे पकड़ाया, and he said that was the one thing which made me silent and posed for a photograph. So that particular photograph had that story. I didn't know this, लेकिन later on जब ये सारी चीज़ें हुई, बहुत कुछ हुआ, so मेरे पापा ने एक बात मुझे बोली, I want you to write your autobiography. I said, me? I said, मतलब मैं कैसे लिख सकती हूँ, मुझे तो ऐसा ऑटोबायोग्राफी और मेरी लाइफ में ऐसा क्या है जो मैं लिखूँ. So he said, make the best out of it and make sure that you write an autobiography. तो मुझे ना थोड़ा सा कुछ लगा कि बहुत बड़ी बात है कि लाइफ को ऐसा जियो कि किसी से शेयर करने के लायक होना चाहिए. सो आई सेड ठीक है, चलो सोचते हैं कुछ अच्छा करेंगे लाइफ में. एंड देन अगेन आई मेंशन अबाउट मिस्टर रवि भटनागर. ही इज आई थिंक व्हेन आई जॉइंड दैट प्रोजेक्ट, ही वाज द सेकंड पर्सन हु गिफ्टेड मी अ पेन. मुझे लगा मुझे स्ट्रैटेजीज लिखना और ये सब लिखना मुझे नहीं आता है. ही सेड स्टार्ट अ न्यू जर्नी and allow the expression to flow. So ये दो इंसिडेंट्स लाइफ में हुए, लेकिन होने के बाद हम उनको उतना मैटर नहीं देते हैं. Then COVID came, and COVID वाला जो फेज था ना, I think that was a time which I spent the maximum time with my own self. It changed a lot of things in me, a lot of things in me. Before that and after that, I'm a different Shailza completely.
Okay.
Completely. If I tell you honestly, I was focused on work, perfection, madness, everything, right. But that time changed me a lot. And I must say, Raul, one thing, I have seen people very closely at the crossover time. जब वो डेथ का फेज आता है,
yes.
तो मैंने बहुत क्लोजली कुछ लोगों को अपनी लाइफ में देखा, और उनकी उस लास्ट मोमेंट पे ना मैं उनके साथ में जब बैठी थी और मैं जब उनको मिलके उनसे बात करना चाह रही थी, देयर वर सम पीपल जो बड़े खड़क थे पूरी लाइफ, ऐसे मतलब अथॉरिटी, वो बोलते तो बंदा नहीं बोले उनके आगे, दैट काइंड ऑफ पीपल. लेकिन उस समय ना उनकी आवाज़ किसी भी वजह से, हेल्थ कंसर्न की वजह से, सिर्फ टीयर्स निकलते थे, बोल नहीं पाते थे. तो मुझे लगता था कि ये भी लाइफ है, कैसे? तो वो भी कहीं रजिस्टर हुआ. देन आई सॉ पीपल जो बहुत कुछ करना चाहते थे लाइफ में, लेकिन अचानक हेल्थ का कुछ ऐसा कंसर्न आया विद इन फ्यू मंथ्स, एंड अब लास्ट मिनट पे उनको रिग्रेट था, ये करना था और नहीं किया. देन आई थर्ड, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट पर्सन, उनको मैंने ये देखा कि उन्होंने सबके लिए जिया, लेकिन अपने लिए कभी नहीं जिया. तो भी मुझे लगा कि यार ये भी बड़ा शॉकिंग है. ये ओवर द पीरियड हो रही थी चीज़ है, लेकिन ये सब उस समय अंदर से ना रिफ्लेक्शन में आता है, बिकॉज कोविड-19 में हमने बहुत लोगों को लूज किया. तो एक और इंसिडेंस मैंने अपनी इमीडिएट फैमिली में देखा, जहाँ पर लोग आपस में ना बहुत ग्रजेस रखते हैं, लेकिन एक टाइम ऐसा आता है जब क्रॉस ओवर का टाइम आता है ना, तब वो बंदे फंस जाते हैं. अब वहाँ पर आपने फॉरगिव करा नहीं, फॉरगिवनेस मांगी नहीं, तो आपका क्रॉसओवर रुक गया. ये भी बिलीव नहीं कर रहा था मैंने कभी, लेकिन जब मैंने अपने सामने ये चीज़ देखी कि उन्होंने उस पर्सन को बुलाया सॉरी करने के लिए, एंड आफ्टर दैट उनकी डेथ पीसफुल हुई. तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो थी ना, वो एक फेज़ ऐसा था जहाँ कोविड में लोग जा रहे हैं. और एक चीज़ मैंने बहुत ज़बरदस्त फील करी, वो ये कि हम अपने वर्क प्लेस पे ना अपनी लाइफ दे देते हैं, सब कुछ दे देते हैं, ऐसे 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 हो जाते हैं जैसे कि भूल जाते हैं बहुत कुछ, कमिटमेंट ओवर भी हो जाती है कई बारी। बट एक ऐसा शॉक मुझे लगा मेरी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में जहां मैंने ये महसूस किया, स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग कोविड, कि आज अगर मुझे कुछ हो जाए, सो दे आर द 2 किड्स जो इम्पैक्टेड है, जिनके लिए मैं रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं ला सकती, लेकिन वहां मेरी रिप्लेसमेंट एनी टाइम हो जाएगी।
Absolutely.
This was one thing, that for who I am replaceable and for who I am not replaceable, that aligned me with my priorities of life. कि ये बहुत ज़रूरी है समझना। अब वहाँ से ना फिर, क्योंकि अब वो इतने इमोशंस, एक्सप्रेशंस और बहुत सारी चीज़ें आ चुकी थी, देन आई रोट दिस पोएट्री बुक ड्यूरिंग द कोविड फेज,
सर्कल ऑफ लाइफ,
कविताओं का गाँव। सो ये इसके अंदर आपको ऐसी पोएट्रीज मिलेंगी जो कुछ तो चैनल मैसेजेस हैं, कुछ ऐसे ही मैसेजेस हैं जो मैं चाहती हूँ लोगों को
कुछ सुना
दे
दीजिए,
के जाना।
कुछ सुना
For
दीजिए।
that I'll have to read something. Yeah.
Sure,
So-
absolutely.
Sure.
Please.
कुदरत ने एक साथ सबको सबक सिखाया है, कहीं कई परिवारों को एकजुट होकर जीना, तो कहीं झूठी शान के पीछे छुपे हुए लोगों को उनके अकेलेपन का आईना दिखाया है, कहीं परिंदों को क्षितिज तक उड़ना, तो कहीं डर से सहमे हुए जानवरों को सहलाया है। पानी के नीचे दम तोड़ते हुए जीवों को जीवन देने के लिए लहरों को उछाल कर सूरज की किरणों को उन तक पहुंचाया है।
Wow.
मिलती है हवाओं में वो पहली सी खुशबू, चांद और सितारों का नूर लौट आया है। वो बादल, वो पानी, वो हवाएं, वो बिजलियां, वो पेड़, वो पौधे, वो फूलों पे लहराती हुई तितलियां जो अपना रंग खो चुके थे, उन सबको खूबसूरत रंगों से सजाया है। अहंकार में चूर इंसान जो फैल चुका था हर दिशाओं में, उसे बांध के बिठाया है। मत सताओ किसी को इतना कि उसकी आत्मा चीख उठे। न जाने कितनी सशक्ति आत्माओं ने ईश्वर से न्याय कराया है।
Wow.
धरती सबकी है, पर इंसान ने तो बेवजह हर चीज पर अपना अधिकार जमाया है। नामंजूर है कुदरत को इंसान की ये बेईमानी, ये साफ साफ समझाया है। अब कि छूटोगे तो इंसानियत सीख कर निकलना, क्योंकि 2020 शायद दुनिया बदलने आया है।
अरे वाह, क्या बात है।
So मेरी तो बदल गई।
लाइए।
So the kind of experiences we had, अच्छे बुरे, और ऐसे एक्सपीरियंसेस मैंने देखे राहुल जहां पर मजबूरी में ही ना लोग बैठे थे साथ में, उस पर मैंने लिखी एक कप चाय के बहाने, जहां पर दे डिड नॉट हैव टाइम टू स्पेंड टुगेदर। अभी एक घर के अंदर मजबूरी हो गई बैठने की, बहुत सारे रिलेशनशिप्स ना बेटर हो गए, बहुत सारे रिलेशनशिप्स मेरे ख्याल से सॉर्ट आउट हो गए। मैं नहीं कहूँगी एंड हो गए, मैं नहीं कहूँगी कि डिवोर्स में कन्वर्ट भी हो गए कुछ चीज़ें, लेकिन मैं ऐसा मानती हूँ कि किसी चीज़ को इग्नोर करना इज ऑल्सो अ प्रॉब्लम। प्रोलॉन्ग करना, उस पर डिसीजन ना लेना, वो भी एक प्रॉब्लम है, बिकॉज वहां पर भी एक प्रिजन है। और जब हम उस चीज को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं ना, एड्रेस करते हैं, तो एक सॉल्यूशन निकलता है। और वो सॉल्यूशन पेनफुल जरूर होता है, जैसे मैं मानती हूँ कि एक टाइम ऐसा लगा, मुझे लगा कि शायद बहुत कुछ एंड हो गया, लेकिन शायद वो जरूरी था, क्योंकि उसके बाद जो मैं हूं वो मैं बहुत डिफरेंट हूं। सो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि कुछ ऐसे फेजेस होते हैं, वो फेजेस में ना हमारी इवोल्यूशन हो रही होती है। मैं नेल्सन मंडेला जी को बहुत फॉलो करती हूँ, मतलब मैंने कई चीज़ें उनकी ऐसी हैं जिनसे मुझे इंस्पिरेशन मिली मेरी लाइफ में, एंड आई थिंक मंडेला जी का डे भी है शायद कुछ ऐसा। तो हुआ क्या कि व्हेन आई वाज इन दैट लाइफ, जहाँ मुझे लगता था कि थोड़ा सा आई कुड रिलेट इट विद प्रिजन इन सेंस नॉट द फिजिकल प्रिजन्स, बट बहुत ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जहाँ आप केज्ड फील करते हो। तो उस टाइम पे ऐसा हुआ कि कहीं से मंडेला जी के बारे में मैंने पढ़ना शुरू किया। मुझे लगा यार 27 ईयर्स उन्होंने स्पेंड करे एक ऐसे रूम के अंदर जहाँ छोटी सी खिड़की थी, लेकिन जब वो बाहर निकले ना, उसे ही सेड वन थिंग जो मेरे को रजिस्टर हो गई, वी शुड बी बेटर बट नॉट बिटर। सो वो बेटर एंड बिटर में ना बड़ा छोटा सा अल्फाबेट का डिफरेंस है, लेकिन मैंने उसको अपनी लाइफ में उतार लिया कि नो मैटर व्हाट ऑल आई गो थ्रू, द काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशंस एंड पीपल, I not curse anyone, because I want to be better,
Not better.
based on those experiences, but not bitter at all. That's it. So दैट्स हाउ आई थिंक लाइफ की लर्निंग्स जो है ना, वो वर्स्ट फेजेस में से भी ना बहुत अच्छी लर्निंग हम ले सकते हैं.
And with Circle of Life? Tell
सर्कल
us.
ऑफ लाइफ तो एक बहुत ही अमेजिंग सी चीज़ है. इसका थॉट भी पता कैसे आया. As I said, I'm passionate to do something about youth and children. तो मैंने ना सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स के ऊपर पहले भी काम किया, यूएन में रह के भी काम किया. और ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हम बहुत टॉप क्लास किसी पोजीशन पे कर रहे हो तो ही हमारी लर्निंग होती है. लेकिन हम जहाँ भी बैठे हों, अगर हमारा कनेक्ट उस चीज़ के साथ है, अगर हम उस चीज़ को सच में अंडरस्टैंड कर रहे हैं कि ये ज़रूरी है, पूरी लाइफ के एक एक कॉर्नर पे ज़रूरी है और हर इंसान के हर लेवल के लिए ज़रूरी है. तो दैट्स हाउ समवेयर आई कनेक्टेड विद सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स. एंड एक टाइम ऐसा आया जहाँ मैं सेशंस करने जाती थी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में, स्कूल्स में. तो जब मैं उन बच्चों को देखती थी वो प्रेजेंट करें, क्योंकि आजकल तो ये बहुत एक कॉमन चीज़ हो गई है कि एसडीजीज पे बात कर रहे हैं. लेकिन जब वो बच्चे बोल रहे होते थे ना, तो उनकी ना नॉलेज बड़ी शैलो होती थी. And they used to say that, "Man, this is what we are told. This is what we know. Our teacher and professors have, guided us this. This is what we read on Google." तो मुझे लगा यार ये बहुत शैलो है, बहुत लिटिल है. अभी ये काम कैसे करेंगे इसके ऊपर? अभी हम यूथ के कंधे पे इतनी बड़ी एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे रहे हैं. टुमारो इफ दे आर गोइंग टू वर्क, उनको क्लैरिटी ही नहीं है उस चीज़ की, तो वो काम कैसे करेंगे? तो मुझे लगा ठीक है, इसका इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे लेट मी टेक एन इनिशिएटिव. तो माय फादर वाज हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड फॉर हिज ट्रीटमेंट एंड ऑल दैट. वो टाइम ऐसा था और मुझे ना एक, जैसे आपने बात किया कि मैं इतना सब कुछ कैसे करती हूँ, आई थिंक एक एनर्जी लेवल जो है ना वो कहीं से ब्लेस्ड है शायद. तो मेरे स्कूल में, कॉलेज में भी मेरे फ्रेंड मुझे ड्यूरासेल बैटरी ऐसे बोला करते थे कि ये अभी यहाँ थी, अभी ये वहाँ है, अभी ये कर रही थी, अभी ये कर रही है, लाइक दैट. तो मुझे लगता है कि वो एनर्जी अगर मैं जो ब्लेस्ड है ना, तो मैं उस एनर्जी का ना एक अच्छा पॉजिटिव यूटिलाइजेशन करूँ. सो मैं खाली नहीं बैठ सकती. इन दैट सिचुएशन व्हेन आई वाज इन द हॉस्पिटल, मुझे लगा अब यहाँ तो कुछ करने को है ही नहीं, तो क्या किया जाए. आई स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग ऑफ कि चलो कुछ लिखते हैं. एंड दैट टाइम SDG 5 के थॉट मुझे बहुत आ रहे थे, पता नहीं क्यों. सो मैंने कुछ पोइट्री लिखी SDG 5 की, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट से रिलेटेड है, शायद कहीं आ रहा होगा अंदर से. तो मैंने कहीं उसको फ़ोन में लिख के रख लिया. और घर में आने के बाद मुझे अब ये लगा कि क्यों ना इस पर बुक लिखें, ऑल 17 गोल्स के ऊपर. एंड देन आई जस्ट स्पोक टू 1 or 2 फ्रेंड्स ऑफ माइन, जो मुझे लगा कि मेरे को एक अच्छा रहा है, डिस्कशन में निकल के आ सकता है. उन्होंने बोला बहुत अच्छा सब्जेक्ट है शैलजा, इट्स रियली नीडेड, बट बुक तो तुम लिखोगी, बट उसका होगा क्या? आई सेड वो मैं करके छोड़ दूंगी, उसकी क्या जर्नी है बुक की वो देखेंगे, बट मैं करूंगी ज़रूर. सो वो जो टाइम था ना जहाँ पर मैंने ब्रेक लिया थोड़ा सा जॉब से, रेगुलर जॉब से, पर मैं उस टाइम को अच्छा यूटिलाइज करना चाहती थी. सो दिस बुक इज देयर.
Interesting. And you're writing another book?
Yes. The
Tell
next
us.
one, yes, the next one, वो बहुत different subject है. It's completely based on my journey, as I said, कि spiritually एक evolution का phase मैंने जिया है. अब वो evolution कैसे आया, किस तरीके से हमको guidances मिलती हैं. It really happens if we are aligned with this, because when we go through these kind of negative emotions, phases, meditation is something which really helps. And I learned Reiki to heal myself, and sometime different type of healing sessions, energy healing. So it was happening and it helped me. When we are aligned with the energies of the universe, because now the emotions which were negative, they are balanced. And then you can clearly see the guidance that is coming through different sources, different people, different energies that are working with you. And that kind of a world was started opening. When I started listening to it, when I started understanding the directions, trust me, a lot of good things happened. I was thinking and looking at life from a very different perspective. So what I learned throughout my life as of now, that there is some power that helps us, and there are some gifts that are already given to us. But if we are not utilizing those gifts and we are trying to do something else, we may make our bread and butter, but we are not able to actually, feed our soul. That purpose is somewhere unfulfilled. That has not taken that shape which it should take. So all those messages, all those experiences, I want to put it in a book and The title, as of now, what I've thought is When Universe Speaks. So in the next 2 months, I'm looking at targeting to launch it.
Interesting. Last question, Shailza. As an individual, what sort of legacy are you looking to leave behind personally and professionally, considering the fact that आपकी खुद की भी journey इतनी challenging रही है? You've come out of it. You have 2 beautiful children, and I'm sure that there is, a lot that you are doing in order to ensure that they are, they turn out to be good human beings.
Yes.
So what sort of legacy are you, what do you have in mind? What do you hope to leave behind in terms of your legacy, personally and professionally?
Very simple, Raul. I believe that life should be meaningful. This is what I've understood so far. Because ऐसी लाइफ जीने का कोई फायदा नहीं है जिसमें हम पीछे ना कुछ भी देखे नहीं जा रहे. So, as I said, books. I have that kind of a knowledge which I've acquired during this lifetime. And sometimes things are stored, hidden. Because many times what I say, what I write, मुझे खुद को नहीं पता होता ये कहाँ से आया. मैंने कभी नहीं पढ़ा, कभी नहीं सुना. लेकिन जब मैंने लिखा तो उसका इम्पैक्ट बहुत लोगों की लाइफ में, जैसे मैंने आपसे भी ऑफ कैमरा भी शेयर किए थे कुछ एक्सपीरियंसेस दैट इट हैपेंड. मैंने कुछ पेंटिंग्स की कुछ फील किया. बेसिकली ऐसा लगा जैसे कि कुछ ना कलर्स पकड़ूं और पता नहीं क्या पेंट कर दूं. समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि करना क्या है. बट आई जस्ट फॉलोड दैट एंड इट हैपेंड कि मैंने जो भी पेंटिंग्स मैंने बनाई, उन पेंटिंग्स से मुझे खुद को हैरानी हो रही थी ये सोच के. आई जस्ट यूज टू रैंडमली पुट इट ऑन फेसबुक और मे बी सोशल मीडिया, बिकॉज वो मेरा हीलिंग फेस था. और जब ये सारी चीजें होती थी तो मुझे कहीं कहीं से कहाँ से लोग कनेक्ट करते थे. उन पेंटिंग्स में उनको इंस्पिरेशनल मैसेजेस मिल जाते थे. तो मुझे बहुत हैरानी होती थी कि इस पेंटिंग में इस बंदे ने ये मैसेज लिया. अब ये तो मेरे लिए बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी वाली बात होगी कि मैं ऐसा क्या करूं, बिकॉज लोगों की लाइफ में वो मैसेजेस जा रहे हैं. एक पेंटिंग मैंने बनाई जिसमें एक मर्मेड है जो बिल्कुल ओशन की डेप्थ से निकलकर बाहर आ रही है और अब वो कहती है कि आई विल टच द स्काई एंड टच द मून. देयर इज अ ग्रुप ऑफ वुमेन लिविंग विद HIV एंड they have not expressed and declared their status. Somebody contacted me and said, we want this on our brochure, because it was resonating with them. And there's a person who accepted her status. And she said, I have lived a life denying and, not accepting certain things, but let me come out in the world. So ये कितनी बड़ी बात थी राहुल मेरे लिए.
बिल्कुल.
उस पेंटिंग को उन्होंने ऐसे लिया.
बिल्कुल.
There's another example I'll share जो मेरे लिए बहुत ही हैरानी वाला था. There's a girl in Dubai. अभी मैं बहुत टाइम से उनसे कनेक्टेड नहीं हूँ, बट ये सब कोविड फेज में कुछ अलग ही चीजें चल रही थी. She saw a painting and she connected me through LinkedIn. उसकी लाइफ में जो इश्यूज चल रहे थे, in a difficult marriage, she was feeling herself trapped. जहाँ पर उसके साथ एक बच्ची थी 3 साल की और वो उसका पासपोर्ट उसके हस्बैंड के पास था और वो बहुत ही पेनफुल चैलेंजिंग काइंड ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट में रह रही थी. वो मेरी पेंटिंग्स देखती थी, उस पेंटिंग से उसको कुछ मैसेज मिलता था एंड वो मुझे बोलती थी कि मैम ये पेंटिंग मुझे जिंदा रखती है. मुझे बड़ी हैरानी होती थी सच्ची राहुल. और वो मुझे कुछ कॉल्स जैसे ऑनलाइन कॉल करके मुझसे बात करती थी और उस कॉल के ऊपर हम कनेक्टेड थे थोड़े टाइम के लिए. और फिर एक टाइम ऐसा आया जहाँ पर उसकी मम्मी आई. somehow she managed to bring her mom to Dubai एंड मुझे लगा मैं कैसे हेल्प कर सकती हूँ इसकी. मेरी कोई ऐसी, मैं कहीं अथॉरिटीज़ को चैलेंज नहीं कर सकती हूँ, मेरी उतनी कैपेसिटी नहीं है, बट मैं कैसे इसको हेल्प कर सकती हूँ. तो शी यूज्ड टू टेल मी कि मैम मैं आपकी नेक्स्ट पेंटिंग का वेट कर रही हूँ. अब मुझे ना वो लास्ट लीव वाली कहानी फील होने लग गई. मैंने कहा यार ये तो बड़ी मुश्किल होगी मेरे लिए कि मैं कुछ मैं क्या, बट आई यूज्ड टू प्रे कि क्या मैसेज जाना है दैट शुड कम ऑन कैनवस ऑन पेंटिंग. और इस तरीके से चीज़ें हुई. एंड मैंने एक कृष्णा की पेंटिंग बनाई थी दैट गेव हर अ मैसेज टू प्रे to her childhood temple Krishna where she used to visit with her grandmother and all that. She did that and somehow पता नहीं कैसे चीज़ें workout हुई, मुझे नहीं पता. her prayers was answered and उसकी मम्मी वहाँ आई. They were from South India and language का थोड़ा challenge था उसकी मम्मी के साथ. She came on camera and she just said thanks. I said मुझे नहीं पता कि मैंने कैसे हेल्प किया इनको। तो ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ें हो रही थी। तो कभी कभार क्या होता है कि हमारा ऐसा पर्पस होता है, ऐसे रैंडम कॉल्स मेरे पास आए जहाँ देयर वाज अ पर्सन जो अपनी लाइफ में ऐसे सिचुएशन से जूझ रहा था, एक यूथ शायद कहते हैं गिव अप करने के स्टेज पे था। मुझे जब उनसे बात हुई एंड व्हाटएवर आई सेड टू हिम, आज तक वो मुझसे कनेक्टेड है एंड ही इज सर्विंग टू कम्युनिटीज नाउ।
Wow.
दैट काइंड ऑफ अ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हैपन टू हिज लाइफ। तो मुझे लगता है कि कोई तो पर्पस होगा मेरी लाइफ का भी।
Absolutely.
और वो लेगेसी जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, मैं कुछ ऐसा करके जाना चाहती हूँ जहां पर किसी की लाइफ में पॉजिटिव चेंज आया। जरूरी नहीं है कि हम कहते हैं ना कि छोटा चेंज हो, बड़ा हो, छोटा इम्पैक्ट हो या बड़ा इम्पैक्ट हो। आपने अगर एक भी लाइफ किसी की बचाई है या उसको सही डायरेक्शन दी है, सही रास्ते पे दिया है, या कुछ भी ऐसा किया है which I did in best of my capacity to different communities for children who are living with HIV and they're orphaned. The old age homes जहाँ पर ऐसे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनके घर से वो किस किस हालात में निकले हुए हैं, I go there, I spend time with them. वो एक ही बात बोलते हैं, कुछ मत लाओ हमारे लिए, बट हमारे साथ टाइम स्पेंड करो। तो कितनी चीज़ें, कितने मैसेजेस क्लियर होते हैं ना कि क्या चाहिए किसी इंसान को, लव एंड लिटिल बिट ऑफ टाइम, क्या चाहिए। तो ऐसी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हम कर सकते हैं। एंड बुक्स डेफिनेटली, मुझे लगता है कि मैं जो कुछ भी मैंने अपनी लाइफ में सीखा है ना, मैं उनको बुक्स में छोड़ के जाना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि बुक्स सबसे पहले एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो हमेशा रहती है। आज भी हम ऐसे लोगों की बुक्स पढ़ते हैं जो इस दुनिया में एग्जिस्ट नहीं करते।
Absolutely. बिल्कुल.
एंड हम इंस्पायर होते हैं जब उनके लिखे हुए शब्दों को आज हम, और हर इंडिविजुअल ना हर डिफरेंट तरीके से समझ पाता है, रेजोनेट कर पाता है। अगर मैं गीता की एक बेसिक बात करूं, जब मैंने बुक्स पढ़ना शुरू किया था ना, द फर्स्ट बुक दैट माई मॉम गिव मी टू रीड वॉज गीता। एक 6 साल 7 साल के बच्चे को कहाँ गीता समझ आती है, बट शी यूज्ड टू से दैट कि रेगुलरली पढ़ो, रेगुलरली पढ़ो, रेगुलरली पढ़ो, तुम्हारी हिंदी क्लियर हो जाएगी। मुझे नहीं पता था, लेकिन उसका जो इम्पैक्ट हुआ, और मैं सच बताऊं, एक ऐसा लर्निंग मेरी लाइफ में ना गीता के 18th चैप्टर का बैठ गया कि कर्म ऐसा करना है कि जब हम अपने क्रॉसओवर से जाएंगे ना, उसमें हमारे अंदर को पेन नहीं होना चाहिए, कोई चेहरा ऐसा आंखों में नहीं आना चाहिए जिसे माफी मांगनी रह गई है,
Wow.
या जिसे माफ करना रह गया। एंड आई हैड दैट एक्सपीरियंस रिसेंटली राहुल। कुछ ऐसे इंसिडेंसेस हुए, क्यों बता रही हूँ, बिकॉज ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। कुछ टाइम टू टाइम ऐसे एक्सपीरियंसेस हुए जहां मुझे लगा मैंने नियर डेथ फेस करा हो, और जब वो टाइम आया, जब शुरू में हुआ ना, तो ऐसे बहुत लोग मेरे अंदर घूमने लगे, क्योंकि अपनी गलती इंसान को कहते हैं ना बाहर झूठ बोल सकते हैं, वी कैन नॉट लाई टू आवर ओन इनर वॉइस।
Absolutely.
सो दोज काइंड ऑफ एक्सपीरियंसेस आई वाज हैविंग। अभी ना बहुत सारे मुझे लगा यार इसका ये रह गया, उसके साथ ऐसा, बहुत चीजें आती थी। धीरे धीरे राहुल, आई हैव डन लॉट ऑफ क्लोजर्स इन लाइफ, लॉट ऑफ क्लोजर्स। आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे, बट आई हैव हैड दोज एक्सपीरियंसेस वेयर somewhere my past life experience, things that got to me as a vision, बिलीव नहीं होता था। लेकिन एक एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा था जहां मैंने अपने पेरेंट्स को पूछा कि मैंने ऐसा देखा, और आप मुझे ये बताओ कि उस घर में, उस जगह पे पहले डोर था। सो माई मॉम सेड नहीं, वहां तो कभी डोर था ही नहीं। बट माई डैड कन्फर्म्ड, वो बोला तुम्हें कैसे मालूम कि उस कमरे में उधर पहले डोर था। आई सेड आई सॉ दिस काइंड ऑफ विजन, I have seen my birth happening. I was born at home only. लेकिन उस घर में ऐसे पीछे डोर था। सो पापा ने बोला कि yes it was there, but when they got married and all that, तो वो कुछ changes हुए थे। किसी को नहीं पता था। How do I know? ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हुई। There was some particular place. Since my childhood, I used to ask my mother that मुझे उस जगह पे जाना है। So हमने आइडेंटिफाई किया, that place is currently in Switzerland. So she used to say that कि मतलब हम तो नहीं ले जा सकते। So I said ठीक है, जब मैं पॉसिबल होगा मैं ज़रूर जाऊंगी। It happened. And there was a house which I बनाया था मैंने कभी, पिक्चर ऐसी हैंड ड्रॉ करके, जो मुझे फील होती थी। वो सच में है।
Wow.
सच में वो है। इट इज़ कन्वर्टेड इनटू अ डिफरेंट थिंग, एंड उसके आसपास के जो एरियाज थे मुझे नहीं पता था, बट आई वाज टेकन देयर।
Wow.
तो ऐसे एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं जो हम डिनाई नहीं कर सकते। अगर हमारी सोल कुछ ऐसे जर्नी के साथ आ रही है, कुछ ऐसे लर्निंग्स के साथ आ रही है, कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो हमें क्लियर करनी है, और जब हम वो क्लियर समझ जाते हैं ना, तो हमारे रिजेंटमेंट, हमारे एंगर, हमारे लोगों के साथ कंप्लेंट्स, बहुत कुछ क्लोज हो जाता है राहुल. दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड. और वो कहीं ना कहीं मैं नेक्स्ट बुक में देख के जाना चाहती हूँ, व्हेन यूनिवर्स स्पीक. क्योंकि मेरे को जब यूनिवर्स की गाइडेंस आनी शुरू हुई तो इतना कुछ खुला मेरी लाइफ में. और जब मैंने अपने आप को हॉस्पिटल के बेड पे उस तरीके की सिचुएशंस में पाया, तो कुछ ऐसे चेहरे जिनसे मुझे लगता था कि मुझे क्लोजर्स करना है, मैंने किया. और जो रीसेंट एक्सपीरियंस हुआ, ओनली वन पर्सन. और मैं बिल्कुल रेडी थी इस बात के लिए कि आज अगर मुझे जाना है तो मैं रेडी हूँ. बट दैट वन पर्सन, मुझे फिर फील हुआ कि ये रह गया है, कुछ अनफिनिश्ड. लेट मी क्लोज दिस ऑल्सो. और मैं ऑन कैमरा, ऑन एयर आपको ये चीज़ बोल रही हूँ कि आई हैव लिव्ड दैट काइंड ऑफ अ लाइफ इन लास्ट फ्यू ईयर्स, जहाँ मैंने बहुत सारे चेंजेस, करेक्शंस अपने अंदर किए, इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए, एज अ पर्सन, एज अ ह्यूमन, एज अ सोल, in every role also that I'm playing right now. And if I have to leave today, I'm ready. Somewhere I'm ready. तो उस जर्नी तक अगर हम आए हैं, मुझे आगे का नहीं पता, but till date, I have like closed lot of things, जहाँ मुझे किसी से कोई ऐसी नाराजगी नहीं है. And I feel that anybody who has done anything wrong, harmed, or humiliated, whatever it is, I simply believe that it was needed at that time to push me from that place to grow in my journey. So it's a kind of forgiveness for everyone, and ask for forgiveness of myself so that my rest of life is peaceful. So the next book, When Universe Speaks, will have these things captured beautifully.
Wow. We've had an amazing conversation
Yes,
today,
and the
Shailza.
last words of gratitude, definitely, for everyone who has been a part of my journey so far. The friends who have played a critical role for making me who I am. And I mentioned one person definitely, apart from my parents and my family, my sister, my brother. But there are very handful, just 2 or 3 people close to my heart. I would like to thank them, because if they were not there, I may not have been here, honestly. So that's Nishi, Pooja, and Dr. Elvis. I want to thank these 3. And gratitude to everyone for being a part of my journey. And to you as well, to Aditi as well, to your team as well. That today I'm here and talking and sharing a lot of experiences. उस प्रोफेशनल शैलजा के पीछे जो शैलजा है, वो कौन है?
Absolutely. Well, one thing I've learned is to be better and not bitter. I will take that with me.
Yes.
We look forward to your book, When Universe Speaks. Thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedule, Shailza. I had an amazing and very enlightening conversation.
Thank you.
Do follow us on all our social media channels to meet more people like Shailza who are making a significant impact in a lot of people's lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And my son came at home. He was like hiding in one corner. And I could feel that something, kuch to hua hai. So I asked him what happened. He said, Mama, मेरे से ना ये गलती हो गया है. I said, कोई बात नहीं. अगर हुआ है, आपने मुझे बताया, don't worry about it. We'll pay back. But I don't want you to live in that fear. तो मैंने हमेशा उनको ये चीज़ बोली कि घबराओ नहीं. कुछ भी हो जाए, be open and share. Because वहाँ से solutions आते हैं. और जब हम हाइड करते हैं तो वो हमारे इमोशंस इम्बैलेंस होते हैं. वो नहीं होना चाहिए.